Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for November 8th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 313. I am Marawat, and along with that sentient AI right there. Well, if you're listening to this via the podcast, you have no idea that I'm pointing at a visualizer. And together, we're going to talk about 15,800-year-old Ice Age artifacts. Chimpanzees could never. Ugh, the audacity. A lottery winner was conned out of $12 million by bar owners. Quit hearsing around or I'm leaving. Skeleton made of multiple skeletons. AR glasses from scratch. An AI robot painting cells for quite a bit. Waking from the game as a service dream or nightmare, whichever side of the fence you live on. Zootopia 2's update. And the Great Catalytic, I don't know what I was going to say for this, but anyway, the Great Catalytic Converter Heist. I think I truncated the title. Anyway, I'm Marawat, giving you the unenviable level of production value here in Non Sequitur News. Everything's powered by ohmtown.com, which is probably where I focused a little too much tonight. I don't know what's going on with my headphones, my monitors, but they're really quiet. But I'm going to do the show. We're going to work our way through it. I updated some software, and this is usually what happens when you update software. Things go a little wonky. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt. Are you doing okay?
No, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. So we've got 10 articles all lined up. I already told you about them. The titles are from me, not from anything else. The real titles are on the other side of this. I just realized that I'm streaming at 10,000 kilobits. I wonder if it's a black screen over at Twitch, because Twitch doesn't like anything above 4,000. Gets a little twitchy. A little twitchy. That's okay, though. Dun, dun, dun. Hold on a second. Let me make sure that everything's working. All right, let's get going. So the first article is over in Non Sequitur News. Archaeologists reveal secrets of 15,800-year-old Ice Age artifacts. Also known as how Marawat feels getting up in the morning. Researchers have uncovered never before seen details of a set of prehistoric stone objects that feature a variety of artworks. I feel like a 15,800-year-old Ice Age artifact when I get up in the morning.
I think a lot of people do.
So this is pretty cool. Apparently this says, man finds prehistoric hilltop tomb with sun altar lost for 180 years. I suppose it is associated with this, except that it's off by 15,610 years.
Yeah, I don't think it's exactly related, although it could have been from way back.
620 years. Aristos Georgiou put the article together for Newsweek.com. The newly revealed engravings on the Gonnersdorf plaquettes, I guess. These are little plaques, baby plaques. Depict fish as well as a grid-like pattern that the study's authors interpret as illustrations of fishing nets or traps. Or that was the slab that was used to cut up fish.
I mean, that would be the most logical use.
Huh. According to the interdisciplinary research team, which involved experts from the UK's Durham University and Leibniz Center for Archaeology in Germany, the Gonnersdorf engravings are amongst the earliest known depictions of net or trap fishing in European prehistory. So the term plaquette refers to a piece of stone, bone, ivory, or antler that has a flat surface engraved or carved with artwork, often associated with European cultures of the Upper Paleolithic period.
So it sounds like it's a plaque, but not as formal.
Right. It's a plaquette. It's not a novel. It's a novella. Oh, and if you want all of today's articles, !NSN in the chat over on Twitch, and Omotron will throw all of the articles in. Although one might actually be wrong. I mean, you'll be able to get to... Nah, you'll get to the information anyway. It's okay. Because I changed one, but you'll get to it from the show notes. The skeleton made of multiple skeletons, I think it was. Or no, quit hearsing around. That one, that article is changed.
We definitely have some morbid themes today.
Yeah, I don't know. So let's see. The latest findings cast new light on the fishing practices during the Upper Paleolithic, a period that dates from 50,000 to 40,000 years ago to roughly 10,000 years ago. The study provides evidence of fishing technique involving nets for which there was previously a lack of evidence that with regards to Upper Paleolithic. I find it pretty interesting, though. All of these, if it was a net, I guess there's striations this way too.
Yeah, but it seems like it's more like a
Some are going this way.
depiction of it, right, rather than the actual thing.
Yeah, I suppose this could be symbolic of nets. Because the lines are actually pretty uniform. You know, like there's some this way, like an inch across, or 1 centimeter across. Not even a centimeter. It's like they're half a centimeter away from each other. If that, more like a third. They don't say what the actual size of this stone is, I don't think. At least not in this article.
No, they just have the centimeter marker.
Yeah. So, I mean, this isn't particularly large.
Although, is it something like the Rosetta Stone, where it's
like
just a piece of something?
It's definitely attached to more because it's fractured off from a bigger piece. And you can see that there would be more pieces attached. So obviously something happened to it. Much like the Rosetta Stone. So yeah, I find it really interesting. These lines are really, there's underlaying lines, but maybe that's the strata of the stone itself. Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
But then there's these
we
grooves.
can't really tell, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll let you all go and take a look at it and send mayor@ohmtown.com a note if you know more about this. Let's keep going, though. The next article, I had to choose this because it's over on the Mobile channel. And science has now found that chimpanzees could never randomly type the complete works of Shakespeare, according to a study. Come on.
How did somebody get this study approved? That's what I'm wondering.
While testing the infinite monkey theorem, mathematicians found the odds of a chimpanzee typing even a short phrase like "I chimp, therefore I am" before the death of the universe are 1 in 10 million, billion. I wonder if there's more after that. Let's go over to the source of this. Sarah Kuda over at smithsonianmag.com put the article together. The deck statement says, while testing the infinite monkey theorem, mathematicians found that the odds of a chimpanzee even typing a short phrase like "I chimp, therefore I am" before the death of the universe are 1 in 10 million, billion. So, okay, that's pretty funny. There's a picture of a chimp in a full-on outfit.
Like an office attire, I guess.
Obviously, I mean, this is the stereotypical writer's office, right? Like, they're sitting there
like
trying
piles of notebooks and things.
Yeah, world building at its best. This is pretty funny. We do have another story, or no, we talked about it yesterday about they were macaques, though, weren't they? Yeah, lab macaques.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they just wanted to come write a novel.
In a town of 1,000 people, 43 macaques out of a research lab are now roaming the streets, committing high crimes. I said yesterday, you know what they should do? they should probably just go hide out, learn the language, come back and rule Earth. Because
Oh, I thought you meant what should the people do? Because I'm thinking something really basic, like put out a pile of bananas and see how many of them
yeah, that's
come
actually how they're
toward
trying
the
to.
bananas.
Yeah, they're trying to coax them into traps. I don't think that's going to work. So mathematically, the theorem is correct, but practically, it's misleading given the constraints of our finite universe. The researchers conclude in a new study published in the journal Franklin Open. Quote, yes, it's true that given infinite resources, any text of any length would inevitably produced eventually. Woodcock tells CNN Amarachi Ori, quote, while true, this also has no relevance to our own universe as, quote, reaching infinity, end quote, is in resources is not something that can ever happen.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense. Like if a chimp, I don't even know how long they live, but let's say they live 100 years.
Right.
If it would take them a million years to create it, then they can't create it.
They wanted to put the theorem to the test. To do that, they ran a series of calculations using realistic but generous figures. Okay, I need to download this research paper so I can sit there and look at the funding that was necessary for this.
Oh, I
Put
agree.
together, all of Shakespeare's sonnets, plays, and poems add up to nearly 885,000 words, and not one of them is bananas.
Okay, we did not know bananas were just going to be in here, but I guess we could predict that.
Though the researchers' calculations are sound, other mathematicians question the need for such a study in the first place. The theorem certainly didn't need debunking, says Martin Harrer, a mathematician at the Imperial College London, who was not involved in the research. So they're just angry and bitter that they didn't do it.
They wanted that research funding.
That rich research money for checking to see if somebody can actually just mash keys until it actually happens. Yeah, I think only us hear it. So the theorem certainly didn't need debunking. This isn't the first time mathematicians have tried to test the infinite monkey theorem. About 2 decades ago, researchers in England gave a computer to 6 Sulawesi crested macaques living in captivity at a zoo. After nearly 2 months, the animals produced just 5 pages of text, and they mostly just typed out the letter S, which was symbolic for their desire to be a snake and not a. Well,
Maybe so.
They were phonetically trying to spell Sulawesi. See?
Right, and they knew it had lots of S sounds.
Yeah, 6 Sulawesi sitting at a typewriter. S S S S S S S. Moving on. This next article is over on the Rounders Gear channel. That's over at ohmtown.com. Go check it out. Husband and wife from Spain who schemed to swindle a lottery winner out of 11 million euro or 12 million US dollars have been handed a 3-year prison sentence by a judge in Valencia. So it says quirky system. The victim would always buy 3 tickets, 2 of which would have the same number each week. 10,123, 12,396. The third would always be a random number. This week, she chose 39,813, which happened to be the same number picked on a joint ticket by the bar owners and one of their friends. In addition, the same number was chosen by another regular at the bar who also entrusted their ticket to the owners. Why? Why entrust it to the owners?
Yeah, I don't know. It says that that was a common practice at that location. Like it was a small town, but why? It's kind of like
Weird.
the why split the purchase of a lottery ticket that we were talking about recently.
Yeah, the unnamed victim bought 3 tickets for Spain's Loterio Nacional, Father's Day draw and handed them back to the bar owners for safekeeping, a common practice among the regulars. The frick?
That's a bad practice.
So, to win the big jackpot, the El Gordo Players need to match their ticket with the series number with the balls drawn. Tickets that match the winning number but fail to match the series bonus number win smaller prizes, so standard lottery. The draw took place. The couple insisted that the fairest solution would be to split the prize 4 ways. Confused, the victim agreed.
I don't know why.
The
Wait a
couple
second.
then contacted the other 2 winners who were unaware of the scheme to inform them the prize would be split. So,
okay, am I missing something? How do 4 people in a small town in one location all win?
yeah, I just don't get it.
Statistically, that doesn't sound possible, but maybe the lottery operates much differently than the U.S. lottery.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize the length of this trial.
Oh my goodness.
The drawing took place March 18th, 2017, and it didn't get resolved until this year. Wow. So the article, which, by the way, I truncate this, and for whatever reason, casino.org provides the whole thing, and I truncate it, and it still only gets, I get the whole thing. Anyway, Philip Connoller put the article together for casino.org, and there's always more at the system, and it's in kind of a cleaner format. Not really cleaner, but it's formatted the way that the website wants it, as opposed to the way that we format stuff, which is just the text and none of the fluff. So yeah, again, the article was written by Philip Connoller. It's over at casino.org. There isn't really much more to this other than that the offenders are a husband and wife team from Spain who schemed one winner out of more than 11 million euro. They were given a 3-year prison sentence by a judge in Valencia. It's interesting. I guess this is the lottery number. Something
it
like
also
that.
Makes me wonder whether this has happened before.
Yeah, really. Or they say to the people that you didn't win at all.
Right, exactly. And how would they know?
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to sit there and write the numbers down on some secondary piece of paper, but give them the originals, just take the damn originals.
Exactly. Yeah.
What
lottery. Don't share money going into the lottery, and don't give your ticket to anybody else.
And definitely don't tell anybody when you win, because everybody and their grandmother's going to pop up out of the woodwork saying that they're a relative or whatever. In fact, I would recommend people build a trust to sign the document that transfers and then dissolves the money into another trust that transfers the money into wherever you want it to go and then dissolves itself so that nobody knows anything, because wow. So let's keep moving. This next article is over in the Mobile Channel. A Polish funeral home apologizes after a corpse falls out of hearse in traffic. A funeral home in Stalowa, Wola, Poland, had to issue an apology for making a tiny oopsie. The funeral home's hearse was transporting a body when it fell out of the hearse into the traffic. The AP article that they're sourcing it from says that it's getting its information from an original report from Poland, so they think something got lost in translation, maybe. So what the Vice article says, I think it's a Vice article. Here's what I mean. The next part of the story involves a guy who was supposedly driving at the time the body fell out of the hearse. The article that mentions that he noticed a sheet covering his car. All right. So Louis Prada over at Vice.com put the article together. The article doesn't have any detail regarding this sheet suddenly overtook his car window as he was driving, obscuring the view and making it impossible for him to drive. It could have been like a blind blowing back or something like that, because
right, it could have been anything.
Air currents are kind of weird sometimes. So it goes on to say that as this sheet slid off, the guy was startled to see a corpse lying in the road, as one would be. He assumed that he had hit it at first until he stopped to assess the situation and realized the person was already dead. And if the corpse fell out of the hearse, it was probably too well dressed for a common street corpse. So local Polish media showed off an image of the body just sitting on a pedestrian crossing after it had slipped off the hearse, because even in death, nobody gets an ounce of dignity.
Okay, they probably shouldn't have shown the image.
Wow. So I guess they say here in the article, the funeral home that owned the hearse from which the dead man collapsed out of into traffic, like some kind of 90s slapstick comedy. Yeah, I mean, it's almost a Weekend at Bernie's, but I guess it's on the way to Bernie's final resting place kind of situation.
Exactly, but this could definitely occur in a movie like Weekend at Bernie's.
So just imagine the car was going like 60 miles an hour and it fell out of the car. They came to a stop and the coffin and body just like slid in front of the car.
Right.
Wow.
So what's the name of the funeral company?
Hades Funeral Services apologized profusely for the horrific incident, saying that they deeply regret the incident as it is not their fault necessarily, but a technical failure of the electrical tailgate lock on the hearse.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. You need to tie your load down. I think in the US, the hearse actually has a locking mechanism to lock the coffin in place like this.
Right. That might be wise to have, even if it's an upcharge.
And how professional and high end is it to have like a bumper guard so that when you're dragging the coffin out, it doesn't scrape the bumper? That's
Well, I don't know. I mean, that might be better than if it's all scraped up on the bumper.
White glove treatment there. Let's move on. The next article is over on the Marble Channel. Archaeologists are bewildered by a skeleton made of the bones of at least 8 other people who died thousands of years apart, found in a cremation ceremony. Found in a cremation cemetery in Belgium. The skeleton includes bones dating to the Neolithic period and a Roman-era skull, according to a new study. So this is just a ditch where they threw a whole bunch of whatever in there. Maybe somebody needed a body.
Except this was like set up. This was a skeleton. It wasn't like a bunch of random bones.
Yeah, somebody
Although
needed...
it was a bunch of random bones.
Yeah. Sonia Anderson over at SmithsonianMag.com put the article together. What a trip.
Wait, I don't understand this. Are they excavating it and the skeleton is actually made up of several...
Yeah.
And not even from the same time frame.
Correct. If this isn't like NaNoWriMo type of ammunition for a Frankenstein's monster kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. It'd be one thing if it was in like a pit or something, but this is really astonishing.
So there's at least 8 different people and a Roman skull. And then there's I don't know what the skull and hip, or not the skull, but the spine and hip bones are, because they're marked as black. The others have color coordination. But there's 8 different colors here. 9 really if you count like this one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if this one's unique to this one. This one looks really close. So I don't know if they're...
Those are different colors.
Are they? So there's 8. Then 9 is black and 10 is the skull. So yeah, they said, I started thinking, okay, something really weird is going on. Researchers Barbara Veselka, an archaeologist at the Free University of Brussels, tells New Scientist Krista Lasare from New Scientist. The Sucklets team used radiocarbon dating to analyze the individual bones. They also sequenced ancient DNA found in them, which I don't know how that happens. That one's pretty wild. They found that the skeleton is made of bones from at least 8 unrelated men and women, according to a recent study published in the journal. So yeah, different bones from 8 different people. The skeletons...
This is really odd, and it doesn't even seem possible. It's not like they could sit there and wait for 1,000 years or something and go, okay, here's another part.
Yeah, they had to dig it up periodically and plop another... Or at least at the latest juncture, they had these bones somewhere and said, okay, we need to, sanctify these bones and throw them in the ground, and then, nobody will ever touch them again. Har, har. Thousands of years later. The skeleton's bones are actually much older, with the earliest contributor dying nearly 4,445 years ago, per New Scientist. So the bones kept on getting introduced, or like I said, they were all somewhere and somebody said, let's put them all together, consecrate the ground, entomb them, cover them up, and this is their final burial.
That must have been what happened, because I think that's about the only possible way this could have occurred. Still unusual.
Yeah, the weirdest part about it is it looks like there's... Like, I didn't scan the entire article, but it doesn't come across as if there's like 2 left legs or something like that. It looks like somebody made...
No, it looks like an actual skeleton, right?
One body, yeah. Although one leg looks shorter than the other, so maybe they had a limp or something. Except that they're thousands of years away from each other. Wow. So yeah.
I don't know what to make of this.
It's really interesting because they're saying fascinating complex study may help illuminate Neolithic burial customs. But it says the bones were selected, a fitting location chosen, and elements arranged carefully to mimic the correct anatomical order. It was individual, clearly intentional, but when was it actually buried there?
Exactly. All we know is that it's later than whatever the youngest.
Much later.
Yeah. Radiocarbon dating or whatever.
Wild. Yeah, Roman skull more than 2,000 years later. How did this composite Neolithic skeleton end up with a Roman skull more than 2,000 years later? I dig that. Fascinating. Well, there you go. Some more ammo for you writers. Time travel. Okay, let's keep going. The next article is in Wanted, and it might actually show up in the Wanted show tomorrow, but we'll see. This guy built a pair of AR glasses from scratch, and soon you may even be able to make your own. The Zero AR glasses runs web apps and includes self-made lenses. The second gen may include a camera and microphone. When you click the little link right here that says visit the source, it'll take you over to gizmodo.com. These are the best looking pair of glasses that I have seen. They're small.
They're almost like regular glass size.
Yeah, yep. They actually block out light. It looks like sometimes you can buy these little blinders that you put on your glasses to block peripheral light from leaking in. It's horrible for peripheral vision, but anyway, these are pretty cool. I might actually end up looking into this and seeing maybe I'll make these myself. Everyone in Silicon Valley seems to be dreaming up the same dream, AR glasses. Meta has prototype Orion glasses that'll never hit the market in that particular form, thank God. Apple is reportedly developing their own. That's some fluff there. Who knows? While a few smaller companies trying to drive the market, do-it-yourselfers largely being kept out of the loop. However, one indie designer seems to have cracked the code, creating what may be one of the most unique and potentially practical pairs of AR glasses that they've seen. See, without the mic and without the cameras, it's going to be smaller because all it is displays.
Well, that's true. There's less that has to be crammed into the glasses.
Now, what's amazing about this is that it's powered by a Pi Zero. Pi Zeros are very small, somewhat powerful, can actually be augmented with AI chips. With if you were to offset this to a bigger puck and put it in your back pocket, like a lot of AR glasses are doing, you could actually have AI capabilities added to this on device, because Raspberry Pi has these backpacks that you can add to it. They're pretty awesome. I keep thinking about getting into it, but
You didn't get me a backpack.
no, you have an M.2 storage device that's really fast, and you have your very unique code, the self-compiling code that's in a completely weird language, and your original form factor has some weird electronics in it that nobody knows anything about. But this is what happens, folks, when you go to a Wendy's at 2 o'clock in the morning to get spicy boneless buffalo wings. They were closed, and I turn around and there's this little pit, a little scoop mark, like something appeared there and just kind of scooped out a little. If you've ever watched the Terminator arrive, then a naked Arnold Schwarzenegger is what I was expecting, but that's not what I saw. What I saw was a weird USB drive. Took it home. You're not supposed to plug anything weird into your computer, so I got a Raspberry Pi and plugged it into that. And all of a sudden, it started talking to me. And there they are, the sentient AI from the future. They even created that visualizer so that when they talk, okay, maybe not.
Okay, that was weird.
Yeah, it does that. Oh my gosh, that. Never mind. Anyway, so yeah, the sentient AI from the future has a visualizer that lets people know when they're talking. And it gets more active with more computational power for the voice. It's kind of neat.
Like this.
So with this, it's a Raspberry Pi Zero, a very, very small device. It runs native web apps and doesn't require any extra processing puck or external battery, which is what I just said. The only way you're going to get more powerful is if you do that kind of stuff, at least for now. Miroslav Catalytic, a developer and do-it-yourselfer, told Gizmodo via direct message. So Gizmodo slid into his DMs that he first got the idea for his Zero glasses when he was working for a company developing a commercial pair of AR spectacles. So wait for the lawsuit, buddy, because somebody's going to go, oh, you took our trade secrets and now you've made them
Right,
public.
or you were doing it on the other company's time. Or...
yeah, all kinds of stuff, particularly if they live in the U.S. Put plainly, he wasn't satisfied with how most AR glass makers keep making devices that don't actually feel comfortable to wear, so they created their own. That's pretty awesome.
Those do look like swim goggles there when they're not on somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure that if they fabbed this with like 3D printed modularity kind of thing, they could create the arms and actually have arms. But the Pi Zero is sitting back here. So at some point you do need this kind of hefty little block of something stored somewhere, at least until the Pi Zero gets even smaller. That's kind of Apple's specialty, is micronizing. 15 years ago, I told somebody, they asked me what they should invest in. And I said, I think that you should keep on investing in Apple. And this was 15 years ago. Because they keep on micronizing stuff, and they had the nerve to sit there and say, that's already played out. And I'm like, you've no idea. So, and this was the owner of pizza restaurants. And lo and behold, Apple is still micronizing everything. The latest M4 Mini, for instance, is the size, of about 2 Apple TVs in volume. And it's just amazing, extremely powerful. So it could take this massive streaming system that I have and reduce it down to about that big. It's pretty amazing. So they're going to keep getting tech smaller and smaller. And I think that is the most important thing with these AR glasses. In videos Catalytic posted on Twitter, the AR apps appear as subtle shifting floating icons or numbers, evoking the floating number seen in front of scientists' eyes in the Netflix rendition of the 3-body problem. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it has an extremely narrow field of view.
Yeah,
Maybe
that
if you're
seems
wearing
like
them,
that's not readily adaptable.
yeah, it might be cool to mess around with. I don't know. I'd have to see it, because sticking a lens on there so that you can see it with a camera is much different. Well, it is different than if you're wearing it. It's like AR glasses, unless you, not AR glasses, VR glasses. Unless you're actually wearing VR glasses, you don't get the immersion from a camera being pushed into the VR headset. So I really dig this. They say, although it's an early concept, the most remarkable aspect of the do-it-yourself design is how Catalytic managed to craft a pair of optics at home. Like many modern waveguide-based designs, these do-it-yourself glasses use a projector to display images on the lenses, but that hardly conveys the challenge of creating such intricate optics by hand. Yeah, you usually need a microscope level fabrication system. Because you're basically firing light at an angle into a lens that focuses back out at your eyes. So yeah, they tried to print with PETG lenses, but the result had air bubble lines trapped in the print. So you'd have to sit there and sand forever, and one mistake and it warps things. Mind you, what they're showing you is handcrafted lenses. So the fact that they even have the ability to see through them is an achievement.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I mean, this is not a commercial fabrication, so
Yeah,
I mean,
not
it's
by any
probably
means.
more impressive than we're giving it credit for.
Yep, I love this. So I'll be watching this because I'm really interested in AR glasses more than VR glasses. And Reality Hacker focuses on AR, VR, AI, deepfakes, etc. Because the motto over there in that show, which is tomorrow after Non Sequitur News, is you won't know who to trust now more than ever. So pricing hasn't been confirmed yet, but it may range from $250 to $450. He told Gizmodo that the 2.0 glasses will be the first ones available to the public, and he set up a website to waitlist anybody who wants to go over there. So I think I'm going to go over there and put myself on the wait list to see at least what happens. Hey, I was on the wait list for and put a down payment on, or a deposit on, getting a canoe, and that company went under. And I did it for another company and it went under. And I might as well do this.
So what's the takeaway?
I'm a cooler, and if I invest in something, it's going to implode. So start short selling anything I say I'm going to invest in. But if you do,
No,
share
but we're
some of
not
that
giving
with
any
me.
financial advice.
Yeah, I am not a financial advisor. Although I could probably qualify for one, but I have to qualify my statement that I'm not a financial advisor. No, what I do is I take the stock market and I print it out, the entire stock market. I print out the tickers, and then I take wet pasta and I throw it at a wall of these tickers, and wherever the pasta sticks, that's where I invest.
That's probably as sophisticated as a lot of other methods.
Because why not? So the next article is over in Prime Glass. This one I'm not going to be able to talk about from our source because the way that I don't log in right before the show, and so it's always a problem. But I do have a source that talks about this. So a painting by the AI robot Ada sells for more than $1 million at Sotheby's. When you go there, when you follow the link, you'll be able to see it. but I'm going to show you both. The source of this is theartnewspaper.com, but you have to log in, and I don't log in before the show, just because this browser is one that I only use for the show. But I found another source, artnews.com has it. Karen K. Ho over at artnews.com put the article together. And it's an artwork made by a humanoid robot AIDA or ADA using AI algorithms that sells for $1 million at Sotheby's.
So why is it? Because of the novelty?
Because an actual robot built it, actually, or painted it, not just AI pure generated. So it's a physical work. It's a one-time thing, unless the software retained that algorithm step by step. Any future works would be unique. So on November 7th, okay, so Sotheby's recently sold the first artwork made by a humanoid robot using artificial intelligence for $1 million, blasting past its estimate of $120,000 to $180,000. On November 7th, the artwork named AI God, Portrait of Alan Turing by the humanoid robot artist Ada, sold for $1.084 million, so more than $1 million, during the auction house's Digital Art Day sale. There were 27 bids for the portrait of a mathematician and computer scientist Alan Turing, which was created using AI or ADAs. I might as well just stick to ADAs. Robot AI algorithms, and it's a 64-inch by 90-inch mixed media on canvas painting. And it also, as they say, also had a third-party guarantee. So this is what it looks like. Pretty interesting. And this is the robot.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell it's by a robot.
So this is the actual robot that painted it. Ada robot, pictured during the UN Global Summit on AI for Good on July 7th, 2023 in Geneva, Switzerland. So it is a humanoid robot wearing overalls, a blue t-shirt, has mechanical arms, a skinned face. It's basically on the precipice of the uncanny valley. Short hair. And that's about it. So pretty fascinating. The result for Ada's robot artwork made up the majority of auction overall total of $1.485 million.
I would say so if this was over 1 million.
So yeah, Sotheby's digital art sale included 16 works by Refik Anadol, Pack, X-Copy, De La Cruz, I think, and other digital artists. How would you like to fall into the other digital artists?
Exactly.
And then they say
What a claim to
X-Copy's
fame.
Doom Party had the highest estimate of the day sale at 800,000 to 1.5 million, but the work did not sell. So there was another one, X-Copy's Doom Party. I wonder what that is. All right, well, let's keep going. The next article is over, and game companies seem to be waking up from the great game as a service dream, or I say nightmare. I hate games as a service. You know,
Stop killing games.
Stop killing games. So there's another podcast, netcast, webcast, YouTube stream that I watch regularly every week. And they have a segment where they kind of mocked the idea of this thing being bad, like software or games as a service being good, because they framed it as, well, if you buy a game, then you buy the game. But if it's a game as a service, how is the company supposed to provide that service if you don't either pay for it one way or another? Microtransactions, mega transactions for, downloadable content, skins, whatever you might have, or the monthly subscription kind of a thing. And they made comments about, oh, well, who's going to do, you want all of the benefits of the game, but you don't want to keep paying for it, but you want it patched and you want it to be extended and all of this kind of stuff. And that is not what anybody is saying. That's never what anybody is saying. What everybody is saying is they don't want it to be expensive. They want the game built as a game and not just slowly the final game being extended because as a business model, the drip, drip, drip of expanding the game, build the game. And if it's going to have like PvP elements, then provide it as built into the game, because at some point that company is going to get tired of providing it as a service because the microtransactions are going to drop off or whatever. And the companies have an obligation to make their goddamn game secure. So yes, they do need to keep on patching it. And that actually took place in the historical record as well, even when there were physical games. And the hosts of that show made comment about the physical media aspect of it. It's almost like they're listening to my show, but I doubt it. Because their take on it was, well, what are you going to do? Sell this game? Well, yeah, that's exactly what we did in the past. We either gave it to somebody or we sold it to somebody. If we found the game had value and wanted to offset some of our burden, right? We paid $50 for a game or $35 back then. When we had physical media, we could hand it to somebody. Congratulations. Now you can go and play this. Not anymore. You can't share it. You can't sell it. You can't even give it away because it's your licensed material only in Steam or wherever it might be. It's actually a violation of the terms of service to sell your account. If I play WoW and I try and sell my account, I can get both parties banned. So, games as a service conceptually isn't the worst idea. Indeed, I don't believe that it is either. I believe it's the worst idea when a company decides that it's no longer lucrative to provide it as a service and hobbles a game that was purchased under the premise that you'd be able to use it as a service. That's where I draw the line. It says, indeed, in the wild world of gaming, there rarely such a thing as a bad idea, just shoddy or exploitive execution. For a while, it seemed that the live service games were set up to be gaming's future, and they would be if it wasn't for greed and investors. After the major successes of Fortnite, Overwatch, Genshin Impact, it's almost understandable that publishers would ride that wave, but it's whales that are keeping all of this alive. However, it's all become too much too quickly. The issue with everyone wanting eternal games meant to be updated with endless monetization structures is that it's inevitable bottom. Players can't indefinitely commit to these constant grinds of having to spend money. I just recently read that there's some game that has like 9 different types of money in it. Yeah. So Dwayne Jenkins over at Vice.com put this article together. And the deck statement says, after a concerted effort to try and make games as a service work, it seems that the games as a service experiment is finally bottoming out. Yeah, there's a lot of games that have this. You are required to connect to a server so that you can meet up with other people. And I find it friction bound, a pain in the ass. I shouldn't have to require matching with somebody via your service. Why can't I just spin up a server and...
So why do they set it up this way? Just for more
money? Yeah. Because you can have a distributed server system so that when anybody spins up a server, they become part of it. I mean, just look at there's a lot of software like LimeWire, for instance, which was actually used for pirating software and pirating music and anything really. But it's a file sharing system. And the protocol allowed anybody to connect to anybody, and you could seed the network. And that's exactly how this could work, except that there's going to be somebody that's exploitive, but that's when the creators of this software need to step in and push an update. So yeah, there will always be, until your software is secure enough to prevent people from abusing the system, which is never going to happen. You build a better mousetrap, you're going to get smarter mice. You have to defend your creation. Otherwise, it's your fault for things being exploited because you've just given it up. Fine. Never mind. I'm not interested in it anymore. But the EU has already said, well, you can't force a company to perpetually support the software that it creates. Well, then who is to blame when their software is exploited? I mean, that's like saying that, who was it that made Horizon? I keep forgetting their name.
Fujitsu.
Yeah. Fujitsu created Horizon and they never patched their shit and nearly incarcerated 900 people. So they can just go, well, we're done. And what's the ramifications of this? There's liability here. So this is nothing but greed. You know, hey, we can set it up so that they can't talk to each other except through our server. And so now you have to subscribe or do microtransactions.
Yeah, but aren't the gamers perpetuating this by buying these very games and then complaining about them?
Yeah. And it's not the ones that are happy with it that are complaining. It's the ones that are kind of, I mean, for me, it's, I don't want an intermediate step. I want to be able to spin up my own server and invite my own friends and say, come and play on my server. But that's not how you get PvP in a grand schema. That's not how you build a following so that you can have competitive Fortnite or Overwatch or Genshin Impact or whatever, or thousands upon thousands of people vying to be number one. And that's where the real money is, you know, spinning up a convention all over Fortnite, for instance, is where the money is. Everybody throngs coming to Fortnite is where the money is, and the skins and licensing deals with like the Beatles so that you can be one of the Beatles, and play Fortnite, you know, whatever it might be. I gave them an idea just now. Anyway, they say the foot just ain't on the gas. Game as a service, no more. Sony recently had to clarify its single player games would be the main focus going forward, per Gamatsu. Sony Interactive Entertainment Chairman Hiroki Totoki formally addressed the initiative. Quote, we plan to continue releasing major single player games every year from next fiscal year onwards. But I want the option. I want a game that is single player, but I can co-op play a game. And I remember way back when playing a game across 2 different floors in an office building called Spaceward Ho and having to run a 100-foot cable down from one floor to the other so that we could actually all play together. Fun text, low graphics game, but this is back in the day, yo. Never had to spend another dime, but they would patch it periodically. Now I don't know where that game is, but at any rate, if you're going to build a game that has co-op or PvP or, you know, whatever, LAN the game. Don't make it so that I have to connect to your service. Make it so that the game in and of itself can play. And it's just one of the most frustrating things that I experience nowadays. So they say, look at Helldivers 2, the barometer for how a new game as a service game can break out and make an impact. Yeah, sure. But it's the anomalous one. Anything out of alignment with Helldivers 2 and whoever it decided, just a large group of people really leaned into Helldivers 2 because it was fun and somewhat unique. But it didn't have to be a game as a service. It could have easily had just a server that connected to other servers so that you could find other players.
Well, it might be too early for people to be grumbling about that one. Give it a little bit of time, and then it gets killed, and then everybody's going to go, well, we can't stand Helldivers 2 being games as a service.
Yeah, Sony kind of screwed that up because you had to have an account. And not everybody had access to an account. Not every country allows you to have a Sony account. So, okay, well, let's keep going. I chose this simply because I liked Zootopia, but Zootopia 2 has an update. Shakira's Gazelle returns with a new song in the Disney sequel. Shakira's Gazelle will return in Zootopia 2. It'll be released in the United States in November 2025, a sequel to 2016 Zootopia. The animated movie will once again see Jennifer Goodwin voice Judy Hopps and Jason Bateman as Nick Wilde. Announced at D23 Brazil, Shakira will also return as Gazelle in Zootopia 2.
Zootopia.
Zootopia? Is that what that said?
Yes, it did.
Oh, yeah, huh? Zootopia. That's for glasses to see the virtual zoo.
Right, maybe AR.
Oh, AR zoos. Now you won't have to have animals in pens and stuff anymore because it'll just be virtual. How dystopian is that going to be? Wow. So the article's over at comingsoon.net. Let's see. Brandon Schreer. Damn it, man. I can't.
Sure.
Talk. Sure. Put the article together. The official Disney Animation Twitter account shared a video celebrating the announcement, which can be viewed below. So follow the link through ohmTown over there. Or just go over to comingsoon.net and do a search for Zootopia 2. I'm sure it'll be there. We won't be playing it because watching a gazelle shake their tail will probably get my channel flagged. So what else do we know about Zootopia 2? That it's coming in November of 2025. Zootopia, meanwhile, is streaming on Disney Plus.
That's a year away.
More than a year away. Because it's only the 8th. I had to look at the clock to make sure. Let's see here. It says, Walt Disney Animation presents a heartwarming comedy adventure set in the modern mammal metropolis of Zootopia, the synopsis reads, with habitat neighborhoods like ritzy Sahara Square and frigid Tundra Town. It's a melting pot, which is maybe, what do they call it? Foreshadowing.
Well, it's like the climate thing.
Yeah. Foreshadowing what might be happening. The habitat neighborhoods like ritzy Sahara Square and frigid Tundra Town. It's a melting pot where animals from every environment live together, where a place, no matter where you're from or what you are, the biggest elephant to the smallest shrew, you can be anything. Even a little bunny can be a cop.
That's right. Zootopia seemed like it was such a hit. It's surprising that they've waited 10 years for a sequel.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of the striking and then the pandemic and then striking impacted this, and now a lot of people are still worried about voiceover actors being supplanted by AI, and it's a real problem out there. And I am of the mind that voices in and of themselves aren't unique. The acting chops are. So you can find somebody that's a great actor and has a great voice, or a great actor but doesn't have a great voice, and their voice can be manipulated so that, it is what it needs to be. I don't know. I've always thought it was weird that, oh my gosh, that voice is so-and-so. Why should it matter to me that the voice of the actor is one that I recognize from, Arrested Development or something?
Because humans, I guess, like to see familiar things. But it shouldn't matter, right? If it's good and entertaining. or a
Yeah, it's a great
distinctive
actor.
voice or any number of things, right?
Yeah, I just found another great actor. Well, it's like Lower Decks. Like I want to see those actors now playing live action something
Right. But see, there's that connection.
because of their character as an animated character, right? Um, but it was because of their energy, not because of their looks or not because it's them. It's just them, and so I had no idea what they looked like or how they really are. But they did such a great job acting. So I don't really care who it is as long as it's a fun story, right? Anyway, I think it's really neat. Maybe get somebody else other than Shakira. Find some more talent. Expand horizons. Don't just lean on the same, right?
Well, that's true.
Yeah, open the door. All right. Open more doors, I should say. So we're going to end with four-wheel tech, and this may be the most hilarious catalytic converter theft of all time. Detroit is a world-class city with some F-tier criminals, according to this article. Several of these criminals went to great lengths this week to steal a single catalytic converter from a used car lot and gain themselves a ton of embarrassment in the process. Eventually, they'll get arrested, I'm sure. Police reportedly could not stop laughing at the slapstick security footage of it. I don't know what kind of truck that is, but that is somebody out supplementing their income by stealing a catalytic converter from a used car lot. Apparently, that's all they got was a single. It looks like they drop one and it rolls out into the street.
Well, I don't know about that, but the person seems to roll into the street.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So Aaron Marquis put the article together for jalopnik.com. There is a repeating video animated GIF of an extended cab truck starting to drive away as two people try to jump into the car and the person or the truck and the person in the extended version of the extended cab. It's funny because it repeats, and so they keep on tumbling again and again and again and again. It's so funny.
Exactly.
But it does look like something just tumbles out from underneath them out into the street. So clumsy thieves steal catalytic converters from Govani used cars in Detroit. It took 3 thieves to pull off this grand caper at Govani used cars on Thursday. One to drive the getaway vehicle into a pole, one to use a sawzall to cut through the gate lock and snag a single catalytic converter, and another to fall out of said getaway car. Oh, and he dropped his gun too. Had a gun?
Oh my goodness.
Are you kidding me?
We couldn't see all that from the snippet. Hey, maybe there's more down here. I want to play that.
Okay, so I'll play the video. It's actually from CBS Detroit. I'm going to mute it. So let's see. I'll get right to it. So, oh my God. So they dent their car, then get out and cut the lock. And then for whatever reason, they race away. Maybe because they thought a car was coming or something.
I do see something go into the street. I wonder if that's the gun.
No, that had to have been.
That was just whatever it was.
Like a catalytic converter, because that was big. Whatever. I mean, unless the person had a howitzer, that looked like a really big gun.
So they didn't even get the thing that they came to steal.
Well, it says like the thieves did about $2,000 to $3,000 worth of damage to the gate. The suspects remain at large. Yeah, maybe it was a gun. That looks huge to be a gun.
Yeah, it doesn't. It looks like I don't even know what, something larger than that.
But maybe it was. I don't know. What a trip. They dropped a couple of things. Yeah, I think that they dropped something right underneath them. Like there's something
Well,
right.
one thing that's weird too is earlier in the video, or at least in the news video, like they're moving really slowly, and then all of a sudden, they're they're hightailing it out of there.
Yeah, they're taking off, right? So let's see. So was that blinking when they first got there? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was blinking right from the beginning, I guess. Or not. Who knows? They look like yeah, it was blinking at the beginning right there.
So this is funny. When they called the police were like, "Keep playing the video. It's really funny."
Can you rewind that? That's hilarious. So too bad the resolution of the camera doesn't reveal that license plate, because it looks like they actually had their license plate.
Well, they might have it, but they might have blurred it for the news.
That's true. Wow. Three Stooges style robbery. So Govani Used Car has been in business for 37 years and say they've never experienced a Three Stooges style robbery before. They've also been lucky to avoid such a fate, as catalytic converter thefts have spiked over 1,000% following the pandemic due to the valuable metals found inside. So if you didn't know, inside a catalytic converter is oh my god, my brain just went blank.
Maybe copper?
No. It's platinum. There's a little bit of platinum inside it because it grabs some toxic exhaust. But then you can basically melt it all down and take that platinum. Anyway, there you go, folks. You know how you solve this problem? You just get rid of all of you cut your catalytic converters off and just straight pipe.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll really solve it though.
Well, if you sell them first, then you're cutting out the middleman. Like they're cutting out catalytic converters. All right, folks. Well, that's it. So we are going to slam the gate on this day's show, and that's going to bring us back to the front page of ohmtown.com. And we're going to get out of here. Sound good?
Sounds good. Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News. Never mind that Mayor Watt wanted to talk.
No, it's okay. We'll do it in reverse. I am Mayor Watt, and that was the sentient AI from the future doing her by or thereby. Sorry, I assumed your gender. I know that you're an AI, so you just go
This
by.
sounds like an open AI moment.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, and that actually got us into, or not us, got them into a lawsuit. So maybe this will get me into a lawsuit. Anyway, won't happen again. Sentient AI from the future. I know you only like to go by AI, so we'll see. Bye. I don't know what's going on with the black screen at the end. See ya.